Good Monday morning, my peeps. It's Adrienne Talks, and I am super excited to have Becky here today because she is amazing when it comes to all things direct sales and especially social media, which we know there's crazy things going on with social media and working with our direct sales and social media. So, Becky Launders here from Modern Direct Sellers. So, Becky, welcome. Say hi to my listeners.
Hey, hey, thanks so much for inviting me on the podcast today. I am so excited to be here for this.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I would love for you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a little bit of my direct sales story. I started out in the field as a field leader. I actually was a kidnapper. No intent of building a direct sales business. I know many can relate to that story. And before I knew it, I had built several big six-figure direct sales teams and found myself training people in my team, training people outside of my team within our company, and then even people outside of our company. So, long story short, I started a little website where I was sharing my training. And fast forward years later, I pivoted out of the field and now exclusively focus on systems, strategy, and training for direct sellers and get the opportunity to support a lot of corporate clients and do keynotes and strategy behind the scenes and just absolutely love this industry as a whole and just love pouring into it and meeting new people and watching them have those light bulb moments to really see their business grow in a big way.
That's why I'm so excited to have you because that's my big passion too. I just love direct sales. It is such an amazing business and there's so many incredible people. And it is the best thing to watch someone when the light bulb goes on start applying things to their business and watching them soar in their business. It's incredible. So I
So
love that you have
true.
that passion as well.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I feel like I pour that out in so many different ways. I have my own podcast for all the podcast listeners out there. And then we have our Modern Direct Seller Academy. We have a free group. We have a website. There's so many different ways to get plugged into good training and help figure things out to really grow your business faster. So I feel like when I started in the field, I didn't have access to any of that. And I was Googling and I was like in different Facebook groups and trying to figure things out on my own. So I bottled it all up and tried to really put it all in one place to make it extra easy for people to build in a big way.
Well, and that's the best part, right? Like that's what I say all the time about direct sales too. Everybody has like these different nuggets, and when you can put it all together and make it like you said, systems and being able to keep yourself accountable and do the things again and again. Because we were talking about that on my team meeting last night, how things you're doing it, and then all of a sudden you drop one thing or another thing, and then you're like, why is my business not doing the same? And it's like, oh, because I got comfortable instead of
Yeah.
following the systems, right? You kind of drop one thing or another. So I love that you are very focused on that and keeping those systems very easy to use. So
Yeah,
that's incredible.
absolutely.
So I know we
Absolutely.
had some things to talk about with just like the way direct sales is going and some things
Hmm.
that are happening right now in social media and the direct sales market in general. So I'm just excited to have you here to share with everybody.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? You want to talk about some of the shifts that we're seeing
Yeah, let's
or?
do that. I would love that.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a really interesting time in direct sales right now. And I'm sure many that have been in it for a while also feel that as well. We've pivoted, we've shifted before. And I feel like this is another season of that, kind of going back to the basics of what really works in our business, but also having to kind of leverage some new strategies to stay in tune with digital marketing and social selling and be modern and be relevant and really attract in a new generation of direct sellers. And for many of those that are younger than us, right? Direct selling isn't like it was for us when our mom had a Tupperware party, right? It looks a lot different. And so for those younger people out there that are looking for an opportunity, first off, we know they're looking. They're looking to make a couple $100 extra a month. They're
Mhm.
looking at side gigs, but they have options. It's not just direct sales. They could go be an Uber driver. They could
Yes,
go
that's
do
the big one.
Grubhub. I heard there's a whole service around folding people's laundry. Like there's all these like weird side gig little things that you can do to supplement your income. And there's direct sales. So when we think about direct sales, I think we're going to see a lot of shifts shifts around just the way we're talking about the opportunity and really framing it more as being a brand ambassador or being an affiliate for the brand. Some of that terminology that we've heard kind of being thrown around in the industry, I think we're going to see a lot more of because that really resonates with some of the younger people out there that are like, ew, direct sales, network marketing, MLM, ick, that's not my thing. But like, oh, I could be an Amazon affiliate and I could be an affiliate for this skincare company or for this meal prep company or for this or for that. So that brand loyalty that we've seen over the years in direct sales maybe be shifting a little bit, but we definitely have an opportunity to reach more people that are looking for an awesome way to make some extra income. It's all just in the way that we're really presenting that opportunity to bring them into our world.
That's so interesting too, because I think about that a lot as well. That like, even I always tell people, like, if you would have told me in college I would have been in direct sales, I would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no way. Um, and that's the age bracket, like, right? We want to start attracting people because that's when they're looking for extra money. And, a lot of people right out of college are starting to get married, have families, which is a great time to be able to pick up a business while you're taking care of your kids or whatever. And I mean, life in general is harder to pay for now. I mean, you see
Mhm.
more kids moving back, like staying with their parents longer because, I mean, to buy a house with the interest rates going up and the pricing going up and the insurance and property taxes. I just had this conversation. It's a little bit harder for younger kids to get out on their own right away.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting too. Like another shift that I've really noticed is, there used to be um such a thing in direct sales around like I'm going to earn the car, I'm going to have the pink Cadillac, I'm going to earn these luxury trips and it was really like a lifestyle that was being presented to people when we talked about the opportunity like this is what your world could look like when you
Yes.
join us.
Yeah.
And while some of that still holds true, also, the research really shows that the average American is looking for an extra $250 a month, right? So when you're looking for a direct sales opportunity, you sell $1,000 at 25% commission, you make 250, right? So helping people see how you're right, it is helping support the day-to-day of their life. It's not necessarily like you're going to become a gazillionaire and be flying on private jets and going to these lavish vacations. And so I really think that image and how we relate to people that are looking for extra income has also really changed over the years as well.
That's a super good point because, I don't even think most people, when they start, even when they were selling that vision, right? Even because even myself, like I never thought I'd earn the trip when I first started. I was
Yeah.
just doing it so I could get out of the house, I stayed home with my kids during the day. So it was my getaway
Yeah.
from the kids for free at
Oh,
night,
yeah.
right?
I was right there with you. I'm like, sign me up for that vendor event. That is an entire day of adult interaction and
Go
like
spit up
good
on
hot
me.
food. I had that same
Totally.
experience.
Totally. So, it is, the more that you can get people to relate, and when they come in and think that lavish, that you just created, that big thing is so far away, they're
Yeah.
less likely to work for it too, right? When you can show them how quickly it is to make that little bit of money that will make a difference in their budget versus this like year-long plan to earn this big trip. Um, you kind of fall into that. Like I fell into the
Yeah.
trip when they announced one that I was like, "Oh, I'm going on that." And my
Yeah.
whole world changed because I changed my perspective as to what I wanted out of the business, right? But in the beginning, I was just doing exactly what we talked about to get out and make a little extra money. So presenting that
Yeah.
that vision could really bring a lot more people to your interested in you and what you have to
Yeah.
offer.
Well, and I think that that's the beauty of creating relatable content. When we think about social media and we think about how we're showing up, long gone are the days of having a super polished Instagram feed where everything is picture perfect. There is a realness to social media these days. You have Instagram stories, Facebook stories, they last for 24 hours. They come, they go. So you can let people know exactly how you're feeling in that moment. And the next day, it is history. And so people really love seeing the real you. And it's not all about branded photo shoots and having to have this perfect image that you're putting out there. I love that trend in social media, by the way. I love that we've gone away from needing to make sure that everything is perfect and just being very real. And I think the more real and relatable you are, the more you're drawing people into your business and attracting them in.
Yeah, and I mean, that's right. That's what it's all about. Like everybody attracts. I always have loved that about direct sales. You look up at the leaders on stage, your top leaders, they're so different. You have quiet ones, you have outgoing ones, you have, all these different creative ones, crafty ones, not so crafty ones, right? And like we all relate differently. And so when you can be yourself, it is amazing how those people are attracted to you because even if you're not creative, you need creative people on your team and they want to be there. They're like, I can help you with this, right? Like, so the more real you are, the more you're bringing in people for the right purpose, right? They know who you are and what you have, and they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, and they feel like they can do it too, right?
Right.
And that's like it's like the old school days when you're throwing a home party. And this might not relate since you're in the food world, but they'd always say just put out like a couple cookies and some punch because you never want to set the expectation that you have like a fabulous charcuterie board and your next host is going to have to put together this like grand production, right? Like you want to make it duplicatable in a way that oh, like she hosted and all she did was put out a bottle of wine. Like I could do that too, right? So it's the
Right.
same kind of thing when you're thinking about the business opportunity and attracting people in. It's like you don't want to come up with all of these crazy bells and whistles where somebody's like, I could never do that. You want to
Right.
be relatable. So that new person coming in is like, well, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Right. That's a great point too. Cause I remember that one time I saw a lady like come in with a laptop and a huge setup at one of her parties and was doing all the stuff. And I was just like, I was overwhelmed just watching her.
Yeah.
Right. Cause here, I rock up in jeans and one bag on my shoulder and I'm like ready to go. But
Yeah.
that's such a good point is like you want people to be able to be like, oh, that's easy. That's doable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
so I want to ask you a little bit more though, like when you're talking about ambassador and affiliate, you're just kind of using that as like a different terminology, right? Because they're still getting paid to do the same thing. We're just taking out the sales and direct sales to just again make them more attracted to the business, like what we were just talking about, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like any direct seller can use that in their conversations when they're inviting people to learn more about the business opportunity, right? So I think that it's a little bit of semantics, like swapping in some words here and there, like being a consultant maybe isn't the right word. Maybe it's, hey, I know that you rep a couple other brands. How would you feel about repping this brand as well? Or okay, if you're being, I know you're an affiliate over on Amazon. Have you ever thought about being an affiliate and recommending products that you love for fill in the blank, right? So part of it is the wording that I'm using. But I will say that there are companies out there that are making actual shifts in what they're calling their sales field. And so we're
Gotcha.
starting to see that happen. There are some slight differences in affiliate programs. It's probably up for debate, but in some companies, when they're introducing an affiliate program, it doesn't always require team building or include team building. So there's some companies that are making shifts where you have an affiliate program and then you have a direct sales channel. Your
Gotcha.
direct sellers are building and they're supporting teams, and they usually have the potential to earn more commission, whereas an affiliate is kind of straight link dropping and
Right.
sharing. But I'm kind of saying it more broadly here. Like, I think we can just be more intentional
Yeah.
about the word choices that we're making when we're having recruiting conversations and relating to a younger audience. I wouldn't be surprised if more companies start making some shifts in the language that they're using or what they're calling their sales field. And we're definitely seeing more, brand partners or affiliate or brand ambassador. There's a couple different companies I've seen that have actually made that intentional swap from a consultant into a brand partner, things like that. But I think it is really just how you're relating in the conversation that you're having when you're inviting people to learn more about the business.
Well, and it's so true because in any direct sales business, of course, there's always the people who love to, let's even say, be a brand partner. They
Yeah.
basically have sold the whole time, but have never wanted to build the team.
Exactly.
And I think that's the beauty of it is when you're ready, it's there, it's an option,
Yeah.
and it always can be. And, mine was literally the trip that triggered me to go, I've got to start asking people in order to get the points in order to go on the trip, right? And
Yeah.
it is amazing how just one small thing like that can shift everything. So
Yeah.
pretty much everybody has that where you could just sell or you could sell and sponsor, right? Like
Right. Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
I love that. I love that, just the word choices you can change to make it sound a little bit more appealing to what people are looking for at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think especially as like I said, we're talking to a younger generation or people that are looking at multiple income streams, that some of those word choices I think we can really update a little bit
Yes,
to
yes,
become more
of
modern, more
course.
relevant.
Oh, no, I mean, you even think about how many people have taken the party word out, whether they're talking
Yeah,
online or in home. Like, let's drop that word and call it a whatever, a
yeah,
fest or a, get together or
yeah.
super low key hangout or whatever you want to call it. People have, changed that terminology in some ways too, because that word can be overwhelming as,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I feel like the word, and it's so funny because I love parties. I'm a party girl
me,
over here, right?
me
But
too.
I do think that the word party, in the way that we've used it in direct sales over the years, implies you're going to get sold to, right? There's something in the word that says, "Hey, my friend's hosting a party. Do you want to come?" Or, "Oh, we're doing this kind of party," or, "Would you like an invite?" That it kind of has a ring to it where it's like, oh, if I go, I'm gonna have to go spend a bunch of money with that person and be guilted into it, right? So I really would challenge anyone listening to think about what their parties actually are, what they look like, what value you're providing, and how you can maybe shift it from a sales focus to truly an experience that your party guests are having. Like, what is it that they're going to go home and talk to their spouse about? They're going to go tell their neighbor about. They're going to say, "Oh my gosh, it was so cool. I went to this thing and we did this, this, and this. And yeah, I walked away with a whole bunch of cool stuff that I'm excited about." Right. So I think it is like, how do you create that experience for your guests that are attending your party or whatever we're going to call it, right? To make it memorable and exciting enough that, of course, they're going to walk away with some product at the end of it. But it's truly the experience of getting there that brings the value and makes them say yes and makes them want to do the same thing all over again for their next group of friends.
Right. And I think that, that experience is, us showing them the solutions we're providing them, whatever product it is that you have. Like you said, I think so many people are trying to sell something instead of like, how can I help you? And I've always approached my parties as how parties as how can
Yeah.
I help you? Right. Like, what can I do for each individual person to make their life easier, better,
Hmm.
whatever. And again, it goes for any product. That's
Yeah.
really where we focus. And then all of a sudden people are like, wow, you know, I left this experience with an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like when we're thinking about those experiences, I think back actually, a quick aside story here. When I was in the sales field, I was representing a children's clothing brand for a little while, and we created what we called the twirl experience. And we invited families in to bring their daughter to try on the cutest, twirliest dresses. And we had a photographer that took the cutest pictures of the kids and the twirly dresses, and our goal was actually to book parties from it. But
Of
people had
course.
such a good experience that at the end it was like, I mean, first off, how do I buy the clothes? And we were like, "Oh, well, you could just have your own event just like this. We'll do your own twirl event just for you." And that was such a fun way. It wasn't, "Hey, come over, let's like, torture your kid by dressing them up in clothes." And it was really, "Hey, we're going to do this photo shoot." And we made the girls feel super special and we had some snacks out. They did their twirl. And then at the end, I think we had like an 80% booking rate because every single family that experienced this was like, "This was so cool. Yes, I want to do this." And it was funny because they
Yeah.
wanted to buy right then. And we actually were like, "Oh no, like it's not actually for sale here. Like let's get you booked in. Let's pencil that into the calendar right here."
Yes.
And it was such a fun experience. So, as you're thinking about your products, I think it's exactly that. Like, what's the solution that you're providing to your customers? Is it quick, easy meals on the table? Is it organizing your pantry? Is it organizing your closet? Is it having a clean skincare routine? Like, what are those solutions that you're providing? And then you can work backwards and think about how to create that experience for your clients.
I mean, it's such a great tip because I think, and I love that we just kind of rolled right into the experience, right? Like you're a
Yeah.
pro at this. We were talking about this, the changes. Um,
Yeah.
I think that everybody's looking for that, right? Like you even look at these like immersive art and these cocktail experiences, and everything's
Yeah.
turning into like you go and you have, I mean, obviously with social media, you have something to take a picture of, or you have something cool that you have now learned that you can do from that, right? Like I can go implement this and people will be like, wow, look at what you just did. Like that's so
Hmm.
amazing. Right. So taking that solution and just like amplifying it a little bit. What a great way to get
Yeah.
people, like you said, to want to book and not just buy, do both, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and at that point, they've experienced the product, right? And they're like, okay, okay, kind of like this. Like, let me tell you a little bit more about it. So it's not like, oh, I showed up and somebody walked me through their catalog and sold me on what was on page 47. It was like, oh, I actually tasted the food. I actually tried on the clothes. I actually had a manicure. I actually did a facial. Like it's whatever you can do to give them a taste of what you are offering and creating it in a really, really fun way. And I think you're exactly right. Like we're seeing this in stores when we go shopping now. We're seeing this, as we're going to events in our community. It is all about that experience. And if people love that experience, they're going to go tell their friends about it.
Hmm. That is so true. And the referral, that's the easiest way, right? Like when people are referring you and you just sit back and let it happen. I mean, that's the best way, right?
Yeah. Yes, please. I'll take that any day.
Exactly. Exactly. And then I know we're seeing some trends on social media. And I know that was another thing we kind of wanted to touch on as well.
Oh, so many shifts happening on social media. We could probably dedicate an entire episode just to talk about that. But at a super high level, one of the biggest things that I'm seeing and I'm recommending to my students and my community is really here in 2024. We're getting a little bit of a nudge from the universe that we need to be sharing our products and our business a bit more publicly. And for the longest time, we have done a great job of cultivating community within a Facebook group. And that's kind of been the primary platform that many direct sellers have built a business on. Like, I have a group, all of my content goes to my group, all my special things go to my group, all my posts go to my group. That's where I hang out, is in my group. And while I love that, your group content that you're sharing is not discoverable and it's not shareable. So essentially, what we find ourselves doing is just selling to the same people over and over and over again because we don't necessarily have new people coming into that group. So as we're thinking about how to maybe update your social selling strategy moving into spring, I would challenge everyone to post a bit more publicly, whether that's your personal profile. Yeah, it's allowed. It's allowed now. I know that was like a big no-no for a long time, not to post in your personal
Well,
profile,
and I
but
think people have that like
yeah,
what 80/20. I mean, there's so much worry about like, I don't want
yeah.
to just post business. So
Right. We
that's
don't want to
interesting
alienate
shift.
anyone, but we can sprinkle it in. We can definitely sprinkle it in. So I would not abandon your group. I would not exclusively post business content on your personal profile, but I would definitely be a bit more vocal on that personal profile in how you're showing up and representing your business. You have something great to share. So put it out there and let people know about it. Because what happens when we share publicly, and this could be on a public Instagram, this could be on a public business page on Facebook or your personal profile, as long as you mark it as public content, is that somebody can actually like click the share button and share it with their entire network. Or they could tag their best friend in the comments and say, oh my gosh, I just went to this incredible experience and I tried this and that and I love it. And I think you would too. When you're only posting inside your group, your content's not shareable or discoverable. So, having a good, healthy mix of where you're showing up is going to become even more important. Um, And I think what we're seeing with some of the changes coming to Facebook groups in April is, since we know that visibility has been down in groups, and now we're hearing from Facebook that they're cutting off third-party apps access to post on our behalf in groups. So we're talking about ScentShare, we're talking about Multibrain, we're talking about Visly, Post My Party, we're talking about streaming tools like Zoom or StreamYard. All of those tools are not going to be able to auto post directly into your group. You'll get a push notification from some of them and be able to click that button and go into your group. But because it's not going to be automated, I feel like it's a little bit of a sign from Facebook that, like, okay, we're not investing in groups in the same way that we have in the past. So visibility is down. They're not doing development in groups. Okay. So hello, direct sellers. This is our opportunity to pivot once again and start putting things out there a bit more publicly and start building our brand and building our followers and creating that community and that audience out publicly on social, not just inside your group.
So I do like this because a page is something that I didn't put a lot of effort into, and I have been trying to make that shift, right? Of like having a business page, because for
Yeah.
so long, Facebook wouldn't show it to anybody unless
Right.
you
I
paid
used
to.
to coach people and to say, just look alive. You don't really need to do anything on that page. Just look alive. Make sure one post hits the page a week. So if somebody looks, they're like, oh, she's still in business. Like, make sure you don't have a cover photo with outdated photos on it. Like, just look alive. But we're really seeing a big shift that we need to be a little bit more than just looking alive on those business pages these days.
So that is okay. That's a good, I mean, that's good to know because so many of us like that's why we created the group.
Yeah.
So let
Yeah.
me ask you, and I'm sure you know, but if not, I totally understand. But like so many of us were doing parties in groups, right? Because
Hmm.
when you make an event, you can't tag people you don't know. Those are not seen very well either by
Yeah.
Facebook. So what do you think that shift is going to bring? Like, because I mean, obviously you can make a group and go in and schedule posts on Facebook, but you're not going to be able to have your whole content like in SendShare, one of those where it's posting
Right.
automatically for you, correct?
Yeah, it's going to require a bit more work. Now, I will say, ScentShare, Multibrain, there's a few other companies that have an app. You will get that push notification. So, in theory, if you went in and scheduled all your party content, then it's just going to pop up on your phone and say, like, hey, Adrienne, now is the time. Like, go post number one. And then 2 minutes later, post number two. So, you'll be able to click that button and it will still go. But you're right, it's going to be a bit more manual. There's an extra step involved there that we had the luxury of not having to do before. But let's talk about parties a little bit. So I would say two things. I do think we're still going to see parties happening inside of groups. I don't think groups are going away completely. I do think visibility is down and there's the potential that it may continue to decline. But as long as you're having a sideline conversation with your guests, you should be totally fine to have the party taking place within a group. So, what I mean by a sideline conversation is I highly recommend for any online event, no matter where you're hosting that event, that you have some kind of RSVP form or process. So, you know who is going and you have direct contact with those guests. So, I know it's a little bit different because in the past it was like, oh, they joined the group. That's how I connect with them. There's going to need to be an extra layer there to get that RSVP ahead of time. And then you, as the direct seller, would be talking to that person, whether that's over text or a social media message during the actual party or event that's taking place. So by having that one-on-one conversation, one, you can provide more personalized support and offer them actual solutions and have real conversations, which is, yeah, I hate to break it to everyone, but
That's,
that's what this business is all about, right?
that's what we want. That's what we're
Yeah.
looking for.
We want these one-on-one conversations. I know it's more work, but we want to make sure we're talking to people. Or the other thing is that you can drive them back to the posts and the content that actually matters the most. So that might be saying, like, here's the welcome post, and you send a perma link to that actual post. Make sure you go and comment here for the, eligible to win a prize, whatever that might be. So I do think we're going to still see events happening in groups. We're going to need to have a sideline conversation. I also think we're going to see people experiment a little bit more and put themselves out there a little bit more. So I have seen some really great results with events taking place on a business page. And I know for many that's like foreign. That's like a completely foreign concept. Like, oh my gosh, like posting on my business page for a party, that sounds wrong. That sounds tacky. That sounds messed up. But I think it can be done really, really well and has the potential to have a bigger reach. So we actually have our Modern Direct Seller Challenge coming up here in the end of March. And we've always run that within a group. And we're actually going to put it out there on a business page.
Oh,
And
cool.
it could flop. It could be really great.
Well, but the fun part about this, right, is that, and I will be posting a link, all my listeners out there to this,
Yeah.
because what I like about this is like, we'll be able to see what you're talking about, like what this would look like,
Yeah.
how this would,
I mean, I figure I should lead by example.
amen, sister. Hey, that is what that, I
So
mean, that is,
everyone can watch. All a couple thousand people that have registered for the challenge can watch this happen in real time. But here's the cool thing. Like if you watch my Monday video and you're like, this is awesome, and my team needs to know, you can tag your team. You can take that video and go share it into your group or share it to your company. So as much as I am a little bit like, ooh, this is going to be weird, my like real friends, my mom friends, or my, old high school boyfriend might see
uh,
these posts publicly on my business page. I also think there's a huge upside of doing it publicly. So we're going to see how it goes. But I think it's going to hold true with parties too, that we're going to see people experimenting more. Like, hey, let's put it out on the business page. Let's maybe try a shop and scroll and put it on a landing page. Let's try a party in a post and run that on a personal profile. So the beauty is we have a lot of options about how we are showing up and how we are partying on social or off social. But I think we're going to see a lot of shifts in the next couple of months as we kind of figure out what the new normal looks like.
well, and so much of what you're saying is making sense too, because I've had that where I always tell people before a party, I'm like, please post, tag me on your personal page. And
Yeah,
how many people say, oh my gosh, I want a part of this. I want to know how to do this. I need help with this, whatever. And those were not people they were going to invite. So, like, they
exactly.
would never have seen any of that content. And I've even
Mhm.
had people with me, and I am pretty active on social media posting videos and stuff, still say sometimes, like, oh, I didn't know you do this. I'm like, I don't, are you kidding me? Right.
I know.
Facebook filters so much, you don't
Yeah,
realize. And some people aren't on that much, right? So they
right.
might not have seen it the other 50 times you posted it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love this. Well, awesome.
So
I
it's an
appreciate.
interesting time, my friend.
I
I'm telling you,
know.
I think that there's going to be a lot of really cool ways to show up and work your business differently this spring. I always feel like if you get into a lull or get into a slump in your business, there's nothing better than freshening things up and trying something new. And that might be exactly what we're going to be forced to do over the next couple of months.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate all your insight. And like I said, you
Absolutely.
guys, we'll put a link out there so you can check out this challenge as well. So I'm excited about that. That sounds like something we can
Yeah.
all learn from.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. So it starts March 18th. We're going to have prizes every single day. And the theme is all around being bold in your business. So, bold ways to ask for a sale, bold ways to show up on social. Bold is my word of the year. So, I'm playing off of that for
I
this
like
year's
it.
challenge, our Bold Spring Modern Direct Seller Challenge. So, we'll make sure we get you a link that you can share with all the listeners so they can hop into that.
Awesome. Well, and I before we wrap up, I always love to ask my guests if there was one piece of advice from all your experience and everything you've done that you would give my listeners, what would that be?
Oh, this is such a good one. Well, again, we could do a whole episode on this, but sticking with the theme, I would challenge you to try new things and get outside of your comfort zone and maybe do things that scare you a little bit. One of my most favorite questions I ask my students in our Academy VIP program every month is, what are you doing this month that you're not quite ready for, but you're doing anyway? Because that is truly where growth happens.
I love that. It's so true. And that is great advice because everybody, and I love that you're doing it. You're like the poster child for it. You're going to do this challenge, not knowing what's going to happen. So, you guys, she's telling you what she's doing. So, do the same, right? Be bold.
Be bold, make it happen.
Well, thank you so much, Becky, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Have a great day today.
All right. And you guys, until next week, when Adrienne talks, realize the power is within you. Do you want your life to be more flexible? Do you wish you had a house on the beach? Do you want to travel more? Do you yearn for financial stability? Would you love to be your own boss? We all have a different dream life. It is literally so different for everyone. I help each person individually figure out what they really want. And then we work on your mindset and actions to start creating the life you've always wanted. So if you're interested, go to yoadriennetalks.com, click on coaching, and check out all my different coaching programs so that you can start having the life that you deserve.